Ladies and gentlemen, up next on the list of people John Cena is going to use to try to get over these 4-year-old kids. Ba, ba, da, ba. Ba, ba, da, ba. Ba, like me. Like me, I'm a face, I'm a good guy. Somebody like me and buy my merchandise! WWE Monday Night Raw episode for May 6th, 2013. And this episode had some good matches in it, so it wasn't all bad. But it started off pretty shitty, so let's get right to it. Show opens with John Cena coming out. John Cena continues to sarcastically mock the fans, you know. He comes out and he says, he comes out and the crowd's still fucking booing the shit out of him. It doesn't matter how many sick kids or little boys and girls he brings out to try to put him over. He just says, you can sense the unrest in the WWE universe. Yeah, there's unrest because for the past 7 years, they've grown tired of your dumb fucking ass, Cena. Derp. And then Cena decides to completely hijack Daniel Bryan's gimmick. What a fucking loser. Zero originality. The guy... And you know what? I consider that using Daniel Bryan to help put John Cena over. He comes out and he says... He just basically admits that he's ripping it off. Yes! No! It's not yours, John Cena. You don't have an original idea left in your body. 7 years of the same fucking shit, so what do? You take from somebody else that actually, you know, is something simple and basic, but he made it creative and fun, and you took it from him. And this isn't the first time he's done it either. God damn you, John Cena. Fucking A. And you know what? He's a fucking bastard, that John Cena. His total lack of talent. And this promo, oh my god. Why does he do this? Why does the WWE let John Cena come out and cut these ridiculous fucking promos all the time? I mean, not all the time, but they seem to be increasing in frequency, the amount of garbage that comes out of his mouth. I mean, the shit he was saying, John Cena cuts the worst promos in the history of the company. I've never heard promos as bad as his. Just go back and look at that Royal Rumble promo. The last Raw before the Royal Rumble of this year. Worst fucking promo in the history of the times, in the history of the peoples, in the history of the places. John Cena took a big shit, and he took not quite as big a shit, but it was pretty fucking garbage last night with that goddamn... He was talking about Betty White right there. That's when I turned it off, when he talked about that dumb fucking shit with Betty White. I skipped the rest of whatever John Cena had to say because that was stupid. The guy is just garbage. His promos are awful. It's not worth my time. He shouldn't be doing it. Ugh. Ugh. Fucking John Cena. Fucking John Cena. So eventually, Vicky Guerrero comes out, and you know what? That's not much better. In fact, but whatever. Vicky Guerrero comes out. She invites Ryback out. So Ryback comes out, and guess what? Zero reaction from the crowd. No boos, no cheers, just fucking almost dead silence. And you know what? That's the WWE's fault. They killed it because they killed it by completely changing his character. He used to fight everybody that came through the front door. He was ready to take on all comers. Now he's walking away from match after match, fight after fight. The WWE pussified him. They pussified him because he turned heel, and that's what WWE does with heels. They make them into chicken shits. And he turned heel so that John Cena could have somebody else to fight and subsequently bury. So, that's why. Now he's a totally different character, and it wasn't his time to turn heel yet. The audience isn't getting behind him because now he's just a pussy that runs away. And oh my god, here's something I remember from this. John Cena, and this is almost just a direct quote, he says, let's have a match where the winner where the winner runs away like a scared little girl, because Vicky Guerrero wants Cena to pick the kind of match that they're going to have at Extreme Rules. So Cena says, well, let's have a match where the winner has to run away like a scared little girl. He says that to Ryback. And he says, oh, wait, you would win that one hands down, or something to that effect. God damn you, John Cena. It's because of his refusal to change his character that guys like Ryback are forced to become pussies and run away like that. Like, it's his fault that the character has become that way in, like, the span of less than a month. Fucking John Cena, you're the reason why they do this shit. Go away. Change your character. Stop forcing other people to do it. It sucks, man, because Ryback, he was coming up, but now the crowd's like, oh, it's that guy. He runs away from fights, even though he's a fucking gigantic, muscular dude and could take on anybody. They got him running away. Go fucking figure, man. He's more intimidating looking than John Cena, but still, he takes off. It's bullshit. Bullshit, garbage, trash. So in the end, they make the announcement that it's going to be a last man standing match after all the bullshit. And you know what? The crowd still doesn't react. They don't care about this fucking feud because they don't care about Ryback. And even the John Cena fans in the crowd, they didn't fucking react to that stipulation. So, you know, I don't know. It's not getting anywhere, this feud. Going nowhere fast. Alright, next segment was Randy Orton versus Damien Sandow. And it was a pretty good match. There was some nice stuff going on before the match. Sandow came down the ramp, and he was taunting, mocking Orton's theme song, making up his own little lyrics. It was pretty funny. I laughed. That's a good way, that's a good example of how to do humor in the WWE. What John Cena was doing, that's a good way of, like, what a stomach flu sounds like when you're on the pot taking a fucking diarrhea nasty shit. That sounds like what John Cena had to say. So you got your two, you know, good. Damien Sandow, bad. John Cena, diarrhea, stomach flu, garbage. Bullshit. Okay, so Orton wins the match at the end, hits the RKO. Again, another good match by Orton. This is 2 weeks in a row. He's been putting on some good matches lately. A lot of times I find Randy Orton boring in the ring, but lately he is impressing me with the matches that he does. And then Big Show knocked out Orton after the match on the rampway to try to add heat onto their upcoming match, which, you know, I'm not really excited about that, but that's what happened. So next up is Jericho. Oh boy. Oh boy, I love Chris Jericho. I do, man. He's one of my faves. But they forced him to bring out tons of fucking shit and to judge the upcoming Fandango match. And I am very sorry that Chris Jericho had to be in the same segment as those guys, because he's much, much better than that. So then Fandango came out for his match versus R-Truth, and it was a super quick match. It was basically just to add to the feud between Jericho and Fandango, so the match didn't mean anything. Fandango wound up leaving in the middle of the match, but I beat him to it, because I left that match to go take a piss and get something to eat. So yeah, I beat Fandango to the punch on that one. Bam. Next up was Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio. Good match. I like this match. You got two guys that can wrestle, and Dolph Ziggler's got charisma just coming out of his ass. So, you know, you put them together, and you're going to get a great match every time they get together. You can say that with Dolph Ziggler and a lot of people, because he even when the other guy isn't as good of a wrestler, he can elevate the match because he's just that athletic and he has that much skill and charisma in the ring. So they were doing a good match, and then Jack Swagger came out, and, you know, Jack Swagger, he's Jack Swagger. he goes on commentary, they go to commercial, comes back, match continues. Some good stuff that happened in a match. Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, picked him up in the air, tossed him up for a gigantic pancake, and Del Rio got some mad height on that, and he came flat down, guts first, chest first. It looked pretty cool. And then, there was a big move off the top rope. Del Rio had him up, and he had Ziggler under his arm, and it almost like for a scorpion deathlock, I think. But he flipped him up over, and they were from the top rope down to the mat. So that was a huge flip. It was a huge, brutal looking, man, Ziggler sold the shit out of that. He's so good at selling moves. And that looked brutal. It looked really cool. So a big thumbs up for that. There were a couple of botches in the match. Dolph Ziggler missed a drop kick at one point. So him and Del Rio got up, and they just did the same thing again. I have a really hard time saying Dolph Ziggler and Del Rio when they are in the same segment together because their names are really similar. So I fuck up a lot, and I edit out a lot of fuck-ups when I get their names botched. But it happens a lot when I'm recording, just a little FYI. So anyway, there was the missed drop kick, and then there was a mess-up on the turnbuckle kick, too, where Alberto Del Rio runs up to the turnbuckle when the guy's in the corner. He comes off the second rope and does, he goes up to kick him in the face with his other foot. Ziggler was supposed to duck out of the way, and he did, but Del Rio turned and landed, and his foot hit him in the face anyway when he was on the mat, and he was grabbing his face from the back of his head. So that didn't go so well for Ziggler, but botches happen. Ziggler gets a pass because he's so damn good. All right, so let me check here. What happened at the end of the match here? Ziggler gets caught in the cross arm breaker. There was a very nice sequence, very quick, crisp sequence of reversals that led into Ziggler getting put into the cross arm breaker. And then he needed interference again, and he loses because of that. Referee saw Big E Langston, so again, no clean finish for Dolph Ziggler. Will it ever happen? Is he just never gonna win a match clean? I mean, before he won the title, he never won a fucking match, so at least he's winning matches, although he didn't win this one. But he's winning some of the matches at least. But it's a terrible fucking record for your World Heavyweight Champion. It's like WWE just forgot how to put over their heels. Everybody's pussy now. And guess what? Ryback pussy, Ziggler pussy. Do you see a trend here? Fuck, I don't even know if you could you consider Mark Henry a pussy? I don't know. We'll get to that. Alright, so what happened was Big E throws Del Rio into Swagger, knocks Swagger on his ass on the commentary. So Swagger flips his shit, grabs a ladder, knocks everybody out. A couple of nice ladder spots there. Dolph Ziggler really sold the one he took. Snapped back really nice, just took it right in the face. I mean, he didn't take it in the face, but it really looked like he did, and he sold it like a champ. Alright, so next up was The Shield versus the Usos and Kofi Kingston. And I was surprised to see the Usos on TV, and honestly, the guys can work, but I thought this was going to be a garbage match, just a throwaway match. But there was some good ring work here. It was a good match. It was fast-paced, all the matches with the Shield, they keep the pace up, the three guys, the Usos and Kofi Kingston, they're all quick, fast-paced wrestlers, so it was a good match. One thing I noted, this was the first time that I saw Dean Ambrose's finisher, and it looked pretty fucking nasty. I don't remember seeing his finisher before. I mean, I can't watch SmackDown. SmackDown nowadays is almost always garbage. And I don't really get time throughout the week to watch Raw and catch highlights of the other shows, but I haven't seen his finisher yet. He just takes him and just plants him right on their face, right on their forehead. And yeah, it looked pretty nasty. I like the finisher. Somebody left a comment that they wanted it to be called the Ambrosia, and Yeah, that's a good name for it. I wonder if that's what they're going to call it. I didn't hear a name for the move, but I like that name. So it was also nice to see the Shield interacting with other wrestlers besides Kane, Daniel Bryan, Cena, Ryback. They've been on those guys for so long now that it was just nice to see them mix it up with some other guys and get a different style of match. Not a different style of match, but just different faces in there. So it's good. I think it's good for it, for the Shield. It's good for the Shield. Okay, next up is something very interesting happened with Antonio Cesaro versus Zack Ryder. 3 weeks in a row you get Zack Ryder appearances on Raw. That's pretty cool, but unfortunately, three Zack Ryder squash matches, him getting squashed. This was the biggest of all the squashes so far. Cesaro, he got hardly any offense in against Cesaro. Cesaro fucking dominated him. And what's going on with Antonio Cesaro? I don't know. Uh, it seemed for a long time that Cesaro was pissing in somebody's cornflakes for the past month and a half, 2 months even. Now the WWE seems to have completely changed their minds about Antonio Cesaro. Thank God he wasn't fucking yodeling down the ring. I hope that stays dead and buried and they never bring it up again. And he came out, he didn't fuck around, he was serious, he dominated. I hate to see Zack Ryder get dominated, but, he's a good wrestler. And then he cuts a promo after the match, saying that nobody can hold a candle to what he can do in the ring. And he labeled off all the TV shows, every single one, even the online ones that WWE has. He says nobody anywhere can match him in the ring. I kind of think he's right. He's one of the best workers in the company. Absolutely awesome in-ring skills. So that was cool. Unfortunately, the crowd didn't really respond to it because this is the guy who just last week was yodeling and acting like a fucking dumbass. So I love that it seems like they're decided to build Cesaro back up again, but I mean, let's think about this. Within the past 2 months, he was on the rise, had the title, the United States title for a long time, did a total 180, sent him down, lost the title, started yodeling, lost to fucking R-Truth, and, he's heading down the drain. Now they did another 180, and they're bringing him back up. It's just fucking, it's hard to stay invested in the character when you're flip-flopping him like that so much. I mean, I love Antonio Cesaro, but, make up your fucking minds what you're going to do with him. Keep him. What you want to do is keep him on the up. Keep him going up and up because the guy can put on great fucking matches and do great promos. So keep him this way. Don't change him again, WWE. What the fuck are you thinking? But I am excited for Antonio Cesaro. I am excited to see what they're going to do with him. Hopefully, maybe they'll move him past the mid-card United States title, Intercontinental title phase. Maybe he'll get up to challenge Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship. That would be an awesome fucking match. So next up was some cool stuff. It was live via satellite with Paul Heyman. And you know what? Nobody does it better than Paul Heyman. The guy's great mic skills. He hyped the shit out of the match with this promo, what they did. They had Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman go to the WWE headquarters in Stamford and Connecticut, basically do a pseudo-invasion, kind of. Walk through the building, harassing everybody, and then they go into Triple H's office, and Brock Lesnar just fucking destroys the place. It was cool to see. It was very old school feel to it. I like that. It mixes it up. It's not the same boring fucking stuff that they do in the ring constantly. Get outside the ring, add in some extra environments, add some depth to the feud. That was good to see. I'm glad they did it. And like I said, Paul Heyman, he's one of the best in the business. So I just wrote down some stuff that he said on the mic here. What he said, as soon as he walked into the headquarters, the first thing he said was, "Let's pay tribute to Andre the Giant, who's been dead for 150 years. I mean, that was funny. That was just funny. Because it was disrespectful, but, it was meant to be that way to get a rise out of the crowd. And just Paul Heyman's tone of voice and delivery. It's good stuff. And then Brock Lesnar's walking down the hallway, and he stops and he takes the long stare at the Rock poster. And, yeah, Vince McMahon still got a hard-on for that Rock versus Brock at WrestleMania 30 match. So, he still wants it to happen bad, but The Rock is kind of shying away from it a little bit. But they put that in there for potential. Then he walks into Triple H's little office there, and he sees one, like a secretary, and he's like, Paul Heyman says, "You're not Stephanie. You're much prettier than she is." That was hilarious. I laughed my ass off when that happened. So then Paul and Brock get into the office for Triple H. They beat the shit out of all of his stuff. They grab the sledgehammer, smash his little title, smash up his desk. It was cool to see. I mean, you could tell the furniture was garbage and the title was fake and all that shit, and the walls were garbage. But it was still nice to see. Then Triple H comes out towards the end, and his promo was actually good. The whole segment was pretty well done, and it made me a little more interested in this match than what I was before. Anyway, next up is AJ and the Bellas versus Caitlyn and the Tons of Fucking Shit Dancers. They're trying to promote the new Divas reality show that's coming out on E, I think, at some point. It's not for me. I skipped it. I don't care about it. You know, not even boobs and good-looking women could save me, could keep me watching this match. I couldn't do it. So next up was a Mark Henry promo. And it was all right. I mean, the crowd wasn't into it. The crowd kept chanting, "What?" at Mark Henry. I did like this. So Mark Henry was kind of letting them feed into it. And then he just says, "You all a bunch of puppets." He calls them puppets. And that was nice. That was good stuff by Mark Henry. So then Sheamus comes out, and I don't even know what happened. Oh, yeah, it led into the Wade Barrett match. That's right. But Sheamus had some sort of, like, bruise under his eye. I think it was his right eye. Yeah, his right eye. It looked like they tried to use a shit ton of makeup to white it out, but you could definitely see it. I don't know what happened there. So then next up was Sheamus versus Barrett. Mark Henry sat on commentary. The match was quick. It was just used to put over the Sheamus-Mark Henry feud for the match coming up at Extreme Rules. Mark Henry yelled at Cole, "Shut up" on commentary. That was great to see, or great to hear. At one point, Sheamus fakes throwing Wade Barrett into Mark Henry, and Henry pusses out and falls on his ass, and then Sheamus bro kicks him, apparently destroying him. Mark Henry was out for like 5 fucking minutes after that. So does that make Mark Henry a pussy too? Just like Ryback, just like Ziggler? You be the judge. So Sheamus wins against Barrett, and then he gets his ass whipped by Mark Henry. Literally. He brought out a belt and whipped him in the ass. Did he whip in the ass? I don't know. But, you know, it was cool. You know, you get the whip, you get the crack, it makes the crowd pop. It was good stuff. And he comes out, and then Mark Henry's like, "Who's laughing now?" And the crowd laughed at him. Oh, boy. Okay, next up was the main event. Kane versus Ryback, set up backstage earlier in the evening. And this match sucked. It was not. The crowd was dead for this match. I mean, Ryback won it. He beat Kane, but the crowd there was nothing. No reaction hardly at any point for either guy throughout the match. I heard boring chants several times at several different points throughout the match. Completely dead. And you know what? This is what happens when the company makes a conscious decision to have John Cena be the biggest thing in the company forever and for always. And then when he gets hurt and he can't be in the main event on your Raw, you gotta take your recently turned heel and you gotta go as far down as Kane. Nothing against Kane, but he's not the guy to close out the show. And I don't want fucking John Cena to be the guy to close out the show either, but that's the only person that they ever put any energy behind is John Cena. So when he's hurt, your backup is Kane. And that, Ryback versus Kane, yeah, the crowd was on fire, right? So, yeah, nobody cared. Nobody cared for this match. And then after the match, that's when it got interesting. The Shield came out. So Daniel Bryan comes out to help Kane. And then Ryback runs out of the ring to get a chair. He attacks Cena with it, who also came out to help defend Kane and Daniel Bryan against the Shield. Ryback hit Cena with the chair. Cena goes down, and Ryback stands tall at the end of the show as the show goes off the air. And you know what? I'm not caring because everyone in the world knows that John Cena is going to win the pay-per-view match coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm not caring. I don't think anybody else is caring. Everybody knows what the outcome of this that's last man standing match is going to be. John Cena is going to go over clean against Ryback. That's exactly what's going to happen. The unstoppable, unbeatable, I'll fight anybody machine that is Ryback has been pushed out, runs away from all the matches he's going to be in, and now he's going to lose to the John Cena machine, who is the biggest machine in the company. That's the biggest machine in the company, not Ryback. You know, John Cena wins again in the end. He will. You know it's happening. You know it's going to happen. You know it's coming. So that's why nobody's interested. Not even the John Cena fans are really interested in this match. So, yeah. It was a downer way to close out the show, but there was some good wrestling in it. Dolph Ziggler versus Alberto Del Rio was probably the best match of the night, in my opinion. Check that out. Also, I wanted to mention this real quick. Kofi Kingston and Antonio Cesaro had a really good match on Main Event last week. A rematch for the United States title. It was really good. A couple people told me to check it out. I did, and it was a pretty awesome match. Basically, if you want to see what a good wrestling match should be, go check that match out if you can find it. Alright, that's going to about do it for me. It's JB Squared, 61279 with a wrestling review. I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye.